Yo, how's it going, everybody? Good to see you. Welcome back to another video. It's time once again for another Switch discussion, not a Sunday Switch discussion. We're actually recording this one a whole day early because I am an impatient son of a gun, as you guys know. I was on my way home from work and I was just like, you know what? I'm about to make a video, man, because who needs to get a solid 8 hours of sleep? You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing right now on the morning of Saturday, March 31st at 12:22 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are awake right now, comment down below because real nigga hours are about to be in effect. Anyways, time to get on to the topic of this video. As you guys know, I fucking love this thing. Like, I'm beating a dead horse like DC does Batman at this rate, but it's so freaking true, man. I loved that I was proven wrong about the Switch, and every single day I get more and more problems as I own this system, because when I look at the damn eShop and I see all the games that are coming out, man, it's out of freaking control, man. One game in particular that I actually just picked up because you guys wouldn't stop bugging me about this, Stardew Valley, which is trying to download right now, but the Switch keeps disconnecting from the internet, which is very strange, and I have to address that soon enough. But yes, Stardew Valley, I will finally be able to check this out. I know Celeste is going to be the next thing you guys comment, but in due time, ladies and gentlemen, there's just so many fucking games on this thing. But that's actually the topic of this video. While there are a lot of games on the Switch, it's lacking in the JRPG department, as I'm sure you guys know by now. The amount of JRPGs on the Switch is, well, they're pretty much non-existent. I mean, we have a couple of notable ones, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but outside of that, what can you really count as a JRPG on Switch? I mean, you have Disgaea 5, which is not really a JRPG. It's a Japanese strategy RPG, but we want like the traditional turn-based JRPGs that we've all grown accustomed to. They're just missing on the system, at least for right now. And what we learned recently this week from Square-Enix is that another one of these high-profile games for the Switch is just not going to be out on the system for a long-ass time, and I'm of course referring to Dragon Quest XI. As you guys know, the game was announced a few years back for PlayStation 4, 3DS, and if you could believe it or not, it was one of the very first Nintendo Switch games that was announced back when the system was known as the Nintendo NX. So yes, they announced the game coming to the system before the system was even a thing, which is very surprising to say the least. And it actually is part of the reason why I wanted to record this video, because Square Enix came out and they recently unveiled the Western release dates for Dragon Quest XI on PlayStation 4 and PC. They're coming out on September 4th. But the Nintendo Switch version is nowhere to be seen, and the 3DS version, the Western release anyway, as of this recording, is just outright not coming. So I wanted to just talk about how perplexing and peculiar this is, because, you know, it's easy for us to get up all in our feelings and emotions about why a certain game won't come out on a certain platform or why it won't get localized. And I obviously like to look at things more from an analytical standpoint before I say, oh, why isn't this game on the system? Because obviously there are numerous reasons. But in this particular situation, I looking at it from an analytical viewpoint is actually doing more harm than good, because shit is looking pretty spooky, to say the least. So let's discuss this, right? Dragon Quest XI coming out this fall in the West on PS4 and PC. But there exists another version of the game that is already developed, it's already made, it's already been released on a 3DS version. And that game is not coming outside Japan. Why? Why would Square Enix do this, right? You know, they say they want to prioritize PlayStation 4 and PC because they feel those are the platforms that the majority of people are going to be gaming on and who'd like to play this game. Okay, that is true. PlayStation 4 is the dominant console leader. Like, let's be real now. The only console that's out on the market that's really having an impact is PlayStation 4. The Nintendo Switch caters to its own audience, and we're not even going to talk about Xbox One X enhanced. Yeah, we're enhancing games that don't exist. Alright, anyways. So we have Dragon Quest XI on the 3DS not coming stateside. That is very peculiar, especially considering that the 3DS is still alive, it's still a viable platform, and this could be one of the better swan song games to release on the console on its way out. Like, we already know that, you know, Japanese development for the handhelds is slowing down because the Switch is a thing, PlayStation 4 is a thing. So why wouldn't they already take this game that's released and localize it? It just doesn't make that much sense to me. Unless Square Enix feels like it's too much effort to localize this, I don't know, but it's just very strange to say the least. Now, the Nintendo Switch version is the one that's got a lot of people up in arms. A lot of people are saying that, you know, there's a conspiracy going on in the industry that Sony paid Square Enix so they could keep the game off the Nintendo Switch. Oh my god. Guys, you know, I'm not going to get into a rant here, but y'all motherfuckers need Jesus. Seriously. Like, why in the world would Sony, who is this market share leader for the video game console scene, why in the world would they pay Square Enix hush-hush money to keep a niche Japanese RPG, a niche series that sells a lot of units, mind you, but a niche series nonetheless? Why would they pay to keep that console exclusive? Especially considering the game is coming out on PC. Like, this is one thing I don't understand when a lot of people get into these fanboy wars and discussions saying that, oh, obviously this company paid off this. Like, guys, when it comes to timed exclusivity, that's one of the most open things that you see in the industry. Take Microsoft and Rise of the Tomb Raider, actually one of the well, worst examples in Microsoft's favor of timed exclusivity. The second they announced that game was coming to the Xbox family exclusive, they said that it's also coming to the PS4 following year and then PC down the road. And I think the PC version came out 3 years later. So when it comes to timed exclusivity, we always hear something from these studios. We might not get as much as what Crystal Dynamics told us, but we still learned that, hey, this game, the reason why it's releasing on the X system earlier is because of this deal. They can't tell you all the specifics, but they let you know. And that's the thing a lot of people got to realize. You know, if Square Enix really wanted to get into bed with Sony and release this game exclusively, they would just keep it on the PS4. They wouldn't even think about doing a PC version. Like, why in the world would Sony want this company to release these games on PC? Wouldn't that cannibalize sales? I know a lot of people are saying, well, you know, the people that would buy a JRPG on console and PC are extremely different. Not really. I mean, look how well the East series is doing on PC. I mean, that's been on PC for the longest time. But look at all these other games that are coming out on PC that started off on consoles that are doing very well on PC. You know, there's a reason why these companies want to focus on PC more. It is a viable platform, and they don't have to worry too much about physical distribution with it. So I honestly think that this isn't a case of Square Enix trying to, you know, keep it away from Nintendo Switch. I think it's more of a case of them being the incompetent company that they are. This is something a lot of people need to understand about Square Enix, and I've been saying this ever since I got onto YouTube 10 years ago, if you can believe it or not. Square Enix is one of the most incompetent companies when it comes to gaming. And I do mean that, especially when it comes to the development. I mean, a lot of people like to say, no, I mean, they made all the Final Fantasy games and they made Kingdom Hearts and all that, but guys, look at how much we had to go through just to get some of these recent entries in these series. Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced in 2013, and it's finally coming out now in late 2018. That's 5.5 years of development. And I know what you're going to say, oh, well, they had some development hiccups and they had to swap engines and all this stuff. It all comes down to the overall development of the game, and all the troubles and the struggles that they went through is saying something. Final Fantasy Versus 13, what ended up being Final Fantasy 15, 10 years of on and off development, and it went through similar problems as Kingdom Hearts 3. Final Fantasy 7 Remake. It got announced in 2015, and we've heard literally nothing about the game 3 years later. Dragon Quest XI, announced for the Nintendo Switch before it was even a thing, and it's not out yet. You guys get what I'm trying to tell you here? I don't think it's a case of Square Enix trying to get into the good graces of Sony. I think it's a case of Square Enix just being extremely incompetent with their development team and their staff and the way they go about things, especially when they're announcing games like a whole generation in advance, and they still can't get these games out on time. Guys, that says a lot more about this company and the way they handle their game development, and less about them wanting to keep something exclusive to a system. They're going to put out the games on the systems that they know are going to make money. And if it means that they're going to pool all their resources to just working on a PS4 and PC version, then they're going to do it. The Nintendo Switch version is probably going to be something they think about doing later. And to be honest, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if the only people that they have in their studio that knows the Nintendo Switch are the people working on Project Octopath Traveler. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they were to wait for those guys to finish their game and have them port the PS4 version or make a custom version entirely of Dragon Quest XI on the Switch. It wouldn't surprise me, because this is the company that announced what? The Final Fantasy X 10.2 HD remaster like 2.5 years before it came out. I remember they announced it like for what, the 10-year anniversary, and it didn't release till 2014. Bruh, that's just freaking insane, man. And then there are other countless examples of them doing similar things, of announcing games way too far in advance before they're even ready for primetime showing, let alone their release, just being able to show it in presentable state. Like, there's tons of examples with this company, so it honestly wouldn't shock me that this is just another situation, and they just seem like they weren't really ready for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, compared to other companies out there who are putting out a lot more titles, Square-Enix and all these guys just seem like, oh, you know, the Switch will be this little kitty thing. Maybe it'll do some damage. Who knows? So yeah, now they're scrambling to get all their games out there, and maybe they don't have the manpower to release all these games at the same time. And yeah, that's just it. That's honestly just it, you guys. I think that it just comes down to incompetent handling of things, and it's so funny considering they just opened up another studio headed by one of the most incompetent guys to work on a game, Hajime Tabata. Like, anyways, yeah, that's all I really wanted to say about Dragon Quest XI. It's Square Enix at their finest, guys, so you don't gotta worry about anything. I mean, it sucks because I would love to play the game this year, but I mean, I have a PS4 for that very reason, and knowing me, I'll double dip and get it on the Switch as well, because I freaking love this little guy. So whether this game comes out in like 2019 or 2020, depending on things, we'll just have to see how far they escalate it. But like, I have to keep bringing this up. This is the same company that announced their Avengers game, and they straight up said, don't ask us anything about this game for a solid year. And it's been, what, over a year since they announced their Avengers project, and we still don't know what it is. There's some rumors floating around that it's going to be an online multiplayer type game. Oh boy, here comes games as a service again. But yeah, that's neither here nor there, man. If they disrespect my man T'Challa, there's going to be hell to pay. If they disrespect anyone in the game, it's going to be hell to pay, man. Anyways, for now, my name is NGS, signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.